Hi everybody.
Hello.
Welcome back.
So today we're making an all-day slow cooker type lasagna. So instead of a normal lasagna, which is beef mince, we're going to do a chuck steak and put it in a slow cooker for 6-7 hours until the beef tomato kind of goes together nice and rich, and it becomes all pull apart, like a melt in your mouth type thing. So instead of normal mince, we're kind of a bit more fancy, a bit more special, a bit more nice tasting for Easter.
And I'm going to make the bechamel sauce, and Jack is also going to make the fresh lasagna sheets.
So it's all a fancy lasagna.
Should be pretty delicious.
Alright, let's get into it.
Let's get going.
Okay, so for the beef and sauce part of the dish, we're going to use carrots, celery, onions, garlic, tomato paste, stock, and the white wine and fresh diced tomatoes, canned tomatoes, whatever you want. So I'm going to grate up the carrots and then measure out all the ingredients. I'm going to put it into the food processor because I want it kind of like a paste, so when you're eating lasagna it's not chunks of veggies everywhere, so it's just nicer to eat. So everything, all the veggies, we're just going to roughly dice up just so we can get it into the food processor. It doesn't matter how they're done, it's all going to go into the food processor.
So I'm just going to roughly chop up the onions.
If you don't have a food processor, you just cut them up really fine if you want, but we have one, so we're just going to use it. Doesn't matter, it's just texture at the end. So it's just chunkier or smoother, doesn't really matter, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, so if you like a chunky lasagna, you can leave your veggies bigger. But like Jack said, we like it smooth, so we're going to chop them all up in the food processor so they become nice and fine.
Pretty good, it's all nice and small now. It's all gonna get all dissolved in the sauce anyway, so it's anything like that's pretty good. Okay, preheat the pan. Okay, so now we're gonna brown off the meat before we put it into the slow cooker. It has a nice colour, better flavour. I'm doing 2 batches. So you want to put your steaks just in the pan and you want to get them kind of brown and caramelised on the outside, just add some more flavour to it. Okay, so the steaks are done, they're in the slow cooker now, so now we're going to get the sauce ready. So using the same pan the meat was in, all the extra flavours are in there from the beef. We're going to chuck the veggies in and cook them. The pan's too small for what we need, so it's like a recurring thing on this channel. 2 smaller pots. So we're going to try and upgrade to a deeper one because we're getting the wine in there and the tomatoes and
we really need a bigger pot.
So I'm going to put some more oil in that. Well, we have a bigger pot ordered, but it's just taking a while to get here because all the public holidays and stuff. Alright, that's better. Oh! Much better. So just trying to get this all softened and nice and get the onions as translucent as possible. Okay, so now that the veggies are all softened and smelling all lovely, we're going to add the wine in.
A whole bottle of wine.
Just let it cook in there and simmer and reduce down to about half the amount. Then add the rest of the stuff in. Okay. Forgot to add the tomato paste and the rosemary. So you meant to add it in before the wine, but it doesn't really matter too much. Just gonna mix that in. And rosemary. Yummy, yummy. In my tummy. Soon. Rosemary smells so good. back on. Okay, so it's reduced about half now. So we're going to add in the tomato, or the tinned tomatoes. Oh, stuck on my finger. Right, and that's pretty much the sauce done, so we just let it simmer for a little bit, and then we're going to put over the beef, and then turn the slow cooker on. And it's just waiting game after that. We sit next to the slow cooker with my knife and fork, just waiting. And lasagna is my favourite meal, so I used to just eat the Coles ones in a way, I can just make it myself. There we go. Pizzazz it up a little bit. Just why not? We're on quarantine, so may as well.
Oh, that's nice. Delicious.
Need any here? Need more stock or anything?
Maybe a little bit more stock. So we're using stock powder, but if you've got stock cubes, it's probably better to use a stock cube because they're a bit stronger than the powder.
But you just taste as you go. If you don't like the taste, or if you want more flavour, just add more in.
Yeah,
Whatever you want.
Just taste it as you go along, add a bit more salt, a little bit more stock.
To your own taste in the end.
That's nice though.
Yeah, so I'm gonna season a lot more here when it's nearly done in the slow cooker, so it kind of tastes better. Then we actually get the flavour of the beef and stuff as well. Still tomato is still nice. So now it's all the sauce is all ready. We'll put it over the meat. So if you don't have a slow cooker, or if you have a microwave or oven safe dish, we don't really have one. You can just put the beef into that, and then whoa, we need a bigger slow cooker.
Oh.
Got it right?
Yep.
So if you have a big pan that you can do, you can always do it in the oven instead of a slow cooker. You just put the beef in there, and it's a lot quicker in the oven, but we just put it in the thing and forget about it until later it's done. You know it's done when it's kind of pulling apart, like pulled pork, and it's nice and really tender. That's when you know it's done. So there we go. Chuck it on, and put a lid on, we're good to go.
So now I'm going to make the bechamel sauce. I've just got the butter in the saucepan melting. And when that's melted, I'm going to add the flour and make a roux. Usually I don't measure anything out. I usually do it just for touch and feel. But I will measure it out and put the ingredients up later. Okay, so all that butter's melted. I'm going to add the flour. And I always use my whisk, just so it doesn't go too lumpy. Turn down the heat a little bit. Just let that cook for a couple of seconds. And then I'm going to add the milk a little bit by little bit. And keep whisking it so you don't get lumps. The whisk breaks up all the lumps, otherwise you'll end up with a big lumpy sauce. Right, I can bring the heat up a little bit now. Okay, that's all mixed in, the lumps are all gone, so I'm going to add the rest of the milk. And now I switch to the wooden spoon. So you continue stirring it while it comes up to the boil, because if you leave it, it's going to stick to the bottom and get lumpy. If you do find you're getting any little lumps, just grab your whisk again and whisk them out. I'm going to turn the heat down to low now because that's thickened up. Oh, it's nice and thick now. Now I'm going to add the nutmeg. Alright, I'm going to put the 4 bay leaves in. Try not to break them up. I'm just going to let them sit there. Get the flavour going through. So season it with salt and pepper. And then just taste it. If you like it more seasoned, then add a bit more. Now I'm going to add the cheese. And just mix that through. And it should melt with the heat. And that's pretty much it. All done. Super easy to do. It's a little bit fiddly because you've got to stand at the pan. But worth it. And then just before you're ready to serve it, just take out the bay leaves. Should be enough flavour through it by then. Okay, all ready for the lasagna.
So the beef's been cooking for quite a few hours now, and it's nice and tender and ready to be shredded. We're shredding up with a couple of forks or tongs and a fork, whatever you can get there to get it all shredded up, and it's good to go. Autofocus is not focusing well, but there we go. Look at that.
So we've shredded up all the beef and we've returned it back to its liquid. Now we've got it on the stove and we're just going to reduce it a little bit more to thicken it up. Looks pretty good though. So our meat has been simmering on the stove for about an hour and all that liquid's pretty much reduced now. And it's thickened up. So we cooked it in the slow cooker for about 5 hours and then I've transferred it to the stove top. But you can cook it directly in the oven and that will thicken better because obviously you get more moisture when you're doing the slow cooker. But it was just easier to do it that way. So now that's ready to put together.
Alright, so now we're going to make the pasta. So we're using a bread maker to mix it up. People have mixers where you mix it by hand, but we're using a bread maker. It's not as good, but it does the job. So you're going to put the flour in there, and you want to make a well in the middle to pour your water into, just so it gets held in there. And you put it on your mixer. Take about 10-15 minutes until it's fully combined. And then just wait. Alright, pasta's all done, so we're going to wrap it in cling wrap and put it in the fridge for half an hour to 45 minutes. Wrap it hard enough. Alright, so the pasta's done now, it's all out of the fridge, so I'm just going to cut it up into smaller sheets so it's easier to roll. Yeah.
I've already put a couple of sheets in the bottom and I'll put some meat. Can you see that? It's nice and thick now.
Put as much sauce on meat as you want, depending on how you like it. We like ours kind of saucy with bechamel, so we're loading it up.
Okay, next layer of pasta.